Okay, year 11. So this time we're going to look at how we can find the sum of a series. Okay, so there are two formulas that we could possibly use depending on the information we have. So let's look at the first one. So the first one could look like this. The sum is equal to, so the letters still stand for everything that we're used to them standing for, okay? A plus L. So number is still the number of terms. S is the sum this time. So we're looking at the sum of a series. A is still the first term and L is the last term, okay? This can, oh, why have I done two different types of brackets? It's not very smart, is it? Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Honestly, the different types of brackets don't really mean anything different for your purpose, so don't worry. So if we had this information, if we knew the number of terms, so if we knew the number of terms, if we knew the first term and we knew the last term, we could use this formula, okay? That's what we need. We need the last term, the first term, and the number of terms. There's another way to do it though if we don't know the last term, okay? So this one looks more complicated, but they're the same letters, okay? So this time it just looks slightly more complicated, but it's really not, okay? This looks it looks more complicated, but still N is still the number of terms, A is still the first term, this is the number of terms again, just like up here, and D is the same as before, the difference between the terms, all right? So while this looks slightly more complicated, I promise that it's not, okay? So this is N, actually let's pick a different color for writing this bit so it doesn't look like the same thing. Okay, so let's pick a different color. All right, let's pick green. Okay, so this is N, this is A, this is L, okay? And D is the difference between them, just like what we've been talking about already. Okay, let's try some examples. All right, so let's just rule a line under that and pick an example. Why can't, yeah, here we go. Let's pick blue this time. Okay, so what happens if we need to find something and we, let's do one where we do know the last term first. Sorry, don't know the last term first, okay? So we're going to use this one here because we don't know the last term. So we're going to have a go at doing it like this. So let's say we want to find the sum of the first 28 terms of this series here. So 3, 7, 11, 15, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the second one. So the sum is the number, so n, which is 28, over 2 times a. We know the first one is 3, so that's a, plus n, which is 28 again, minus 1, and d, what's the difference between them? Well, there's 4 numbers between each, isn't there? So we use 4. So look at this. We no longer have any unknowns. It's just the s which is unknown. So all we do is begin to solve this. So let's keep the brackets the same. So we've got 6 plus 27 times 4, and then we can work all this out. I'm just going to do it in one step because I've run out of paper here, okay? But you can just type that straight into your calculator and you'll end up with 456, okay? You can slowly work it out if you like, but there's no real need. So the sum of the first 28 terms of this sequence is 456, okay? So all you're doing is taking this complex looking formula. All you need to know is A and N and D, and there's another N up here, don't forget, okay? So that's all you need to know to work this out. Now the second version, well, which is the first one, we'll have a go at doing this one. Now this might look more complicated, this might look easier, but it's actually harder because there's an extra step involved. So let's say we want to find the sum of the series that looks like this, okay? Oh, actually, we don't want another one just yet, sorry. So let's say we want to find the sum of this series all the way up to 204, okay? So we can tell that there are 6 numbers between each, can't we? So we're going to use this first formula, but to begin with, we don't know n. We need to know n before we can do this. So we're going to use a formula that we've used before. So remember our original formula, the a plus n minus 1d. We're going to use this, but this time we need to work out how many terms there are first. Now we've already done this. If you can't remember how to do it, I'll do it here, but if this is not enough, go back and look at the example that I've already got on YouTube, okay? So this time we're going to put the last term first. So remember, instead of this, we're going to use the last term. The first term we know, the number of terms we do not know, that's our unknown. And D, we know that there are 6 numbers between each. We can tell just by looking, okay? So we just start to simplify it. 5, oops, sorry, what am I doing? Ugh. Try getting ahead of myself, okay? Plus 6n minus 6, because that's just this expanded, okay? We're expanding that bit. So then we just start moving things around, and they kind of cancel each other out. We're just trying to get n on its own, so 204 is 6n. We want to get n by itself, so we get rid of the 6, and we end up with 34. Okay, so now we've done that bit. Let's just rule that bit off, okay? So we've done that bit. We know how many terms there are now. Now we can use our formula. So now we can use this simple looking formula, okay? So we want to know how many terms there are. We just found out that n is 34. So I'm using this formula up here now, by the way. So n over 2, n is 34 over, oh, why did I write n again? 2, okay, and then in our brackets we have a, which is 6 because that's our first term, plus L, which is 204 because that's our last term, okay? So S is 17 times 210 because that's these two things added together, yes? I hope we're all on board for that. And that's 3,570, okay? So all you need to do is you need to know these 4 things up here. You need to know what n is, how many terms there are, the first term, the last term, and the difference between each term. Now, the reason we had to do this extra step is because we did not know n. We did not get given this piece of information in the question. So if you don't know how many terms there are, find that out first, then use your formula, and you'll be able to find the sum of the series. Now, hopefully that is enough. Go back and watch it again if it's not, or just come and ask me some questions.